They say revenge is a dish best served cold. Well, mine was served in a boardroom, with a side of stunned silence. My name is Alex, and for 5 years, I was the top salesperson at a major tech firm. I lived and breathed my job, consistently exceeding targets and bringing in multi-million-dollar deals. My biggest achievement was landing the White Whale account, a client everyone thought was impossible to get. It was a deal worth millions, and I had single-handedly orchestrated the entire thing from start to finish. I was on top of the world. A promotion to senior VP felt like a sure thing. Then, out of nowhere, the floor fell out from under me. I was called into HR and told I was being reassigned. My new title, Junior Sales Associate. My office, a cubicle next to the interns. My boss, a guy named Mark, who I had trained just 2 years prior. He was smug, incompetent, and had a knack for taking credit for other people's work. It was a demotion, a slap in the face, and there was no explanation given. Just a cold, corporate email in a box for my belongings. I was devastated, confused, and furious. Why would they demotion their top performer right after he closed the biggest deal in the company's history? I tried to get answers. I cornered my old boss, who avoided my gaze and mumbled something about restructuring. I emailed HR, only to get boilerplate responses about corporate strategy. It was a stonewall. I was an outcast in my own company. Mark, my new boss, treated me like his personal assistant. He'd have me fetch coffee, run his reports, and worst of all, he started presenting my work as his own. He was parading around the office, basking in the glory of the White Whale account, the deal I had poured my heart and soul into. The injustice was eating me alive. I knew I couldn't let this stand. The initial shock turned into a cold, calculated resolve. I realized they weren't just trying to sideline me, they were trying to erase me. They wanted to take my success, my biggest win, and hand it to their new golden boy, Mark. They probably thought I'd just quit, defeated and humiliated, but they underestimated me. I wasn't going to just walk away. I decided to bide my time and wait for the perfect moment to expose the truth. I knew the annual board meeting was coming up. It was the one time all the top executives and shareholders gathered to review the year's performance. The highlight of this year's meeting, you guessed it, the multi-million-dollar White Whale deal. For the next few weeks, I played the part of the humble junior associate. I did my menial tasks with a smile, enduring Mark's condescending attitude. But behind the scenes, I was preparing my masterstroke. I started gathering every piece of evidence I had, every email correspondence with the client, every call log, every draft of the proposal with my tracked changes, and every meeting note. I had a mountain of proof that I was the sole architect of that deal. I even had a saved voicemail from the CEO of the White Whale Company, personally thanking me for my tenacity and brilliant strategy. I compiled it all into a crisp, undeniable presentation. It was my secret weapon. The day of the board meeting arrived. The air in the office was electric. Mark was strutting around like he owned the place, wearing a suit that was clearly too expensive for his actual salary. He was scheduled to present the case study of the White Whale acquisition to the board. I saw him practicing a speech full of I statements. I identified the opportunity. I built the relationship. I closed the deal. The nerve of this guy was unbelievable. He had no idea what was coming. I had arranged with a sympathetic contact in the IT department to have my presentation queued up and ready to go on the main projector at a moment's notice. Mark took the stage in the grand boardroom. The CEO, the CFO, the entire board of directors, they were all there, hanging on his every word. He began his presentation, a work of pure fiction. He painted himself as a sales prodigy who had single-handedly saved the company. My blood was boiling, but I kept my cool. I let him dig his own grave. He clicked to his final slide, a picture of himself with the caption, "The man who landed the whale." The room erupted in applause. The CEO stood up, shook Mark's hand, and announced a hefty bonus and a promotion for him. That was my cue. As the applause died down, I stood up from the back of the room. "Excuse me, Mr. CEO," I said, my voice clear and steady. "There seems to be a misunderstanding." A murmur went through the room. All eyes turned to me. The CEO looked annoyed. "And you are?" he asked dismissively. "My name is Alex. I replied. And I'm the one who actually closed that deal. Before anyone could react, my presentation flashed onto the giant screen behind the stage, replacing Mark's smug face. The title read, "The Truth Behind the White Whale Deal, an evidence-based account by Alex." For the next 10 minutes, I walked the board through the entire process. I showed them the initial emails, the call logs, the late-night strategy sessions, all with my name on them. I played the voicemail from the client's CEO. The room was dead silent. You could hear a pin drop. Mark's face had gone from tan to ghost white. The board members were staring, first at the screen, then at Mark, then at the CEO, who looked like he had swallowed a lemon. When I finished, the evidence was undeniable. I hadn't just made a claim. I had proven it beyond any doubt. The applause for Mark was a distant memory, replaced by a thick, uncomfortable tension. The aftermath was swift and brutal. The meeting was immediately adjourned. Mark was fired on the spot and escorted out of the building. The CEO and my old boss were subjected to an internal investigation by the board for misleading them and fostering a toxic work environment. As for me, the board offered me a formal apology, reinstated my original position, and offered me the senior VP role I should have gotten in the first place, along with Mark's forfeited bonus. I accepted. It wasn't just about the money or the title. It was about justice. It was about proving that hard work and integrity still mean something. Sometimes, the best way to fight a broken system is to let the truth speak for itself, preferably in front of a very important audience. Thank you for watching my story. If you've ever felt undervalued or wronged at work, know that you have more power than you think. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more stories like this, and share your own experiences in the comments below. See you next time.